Hey everybody, hey everybody. This is the Rig on Wheel show featuring MVT, and I am your host, Camille E. Gaines, the CEO and founder of Rig on Wheels, Broker and Recruitment Services. And y'all know who this is. This is the VP of recruiting over there at Mesilla Valley. So we come to you all once again every Tuesday like clockwork around 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we are your ultimate destination, whether it is for news insights, hot jobs, driver tips, recruitment tips. So we are the first recruitment show ever and still going on, going strong. We heading up on our year anniversary right now. So we are about to get started.
It's good to have you back. You weren't here last week. For those of you tuning in, you were not gone because of an injury. I do think that should be pointed out.
Yes, I wasn't gone because of an injury. My injuries come from I am a new school abuela, new school grandma. They don't make us like they used to. We are not the strong, doable grandmothers from before. But I was at TMSA conference, marketing and sale logistic conference. It was like really, really good. So we were talking about a lot of good things, and I was on a people, profit, purpose panel speaking with Charlie and speaking with Caitlin from NFI, and it was really good. We were talking about MVT as well. Well, more importantly, talking about Pearson.
What do you think news-wise, or just what was shared? What was your highlight of the week there?
I think I'm going to be honest with you, the perspectives as far as all three of us in the room when it was what comes first, people, profit, or purpose. And I believe Charlie said people because that drives everything. If I'm not quoting wrong, Caitlin said your purpose because that drives everything. And then your Camille, me, I said profit. And it doesn't necessarily just mean your financial, because in my thought pattern, if you're treating your people correctly, and that is your purpose in business, it comes all out in the wash. So your turnover is part of your profit. If you're treating your folks correctly, if the purpose of your business is attracting the proper driver, the proper talent, the proper staff, then you're going to retain the proper folk. So that's that part of it. So it was kind of, most people in that room were not saying profit, but then when I start breaking it down like that, then it started resonating.
I think on face value, and we could get very technical and philosophical with this very quickly. I'm going to go with purpose. And the reason I'll go with purpose is once you create the purpose for the business, all your people need purpose. Part of going to a job is not just the money.
No.
If you're a driver and you have carrier A and carrier B and they pay the exact same amount, same customer base, your next thing that you're looking at is what's the purpose? What am I getting out of this job? And I'm a big believer that if you put that purpose there, you give the autonomy of the people to execute on that purpose. The profits generally follow as long as the mousetrap's not broken.
And I do the math
now
just backwards.
Now, let me be clear. Profit's definitely important because unless you're working for a charitable organization, profit's what keeps the company running. You can have all the purpose in the world and you can have the best people, but if you don't make a profit, eventually the show ends at certain points.
Yes.
Yeah.
The curtains close.
Yes, they do. Exit stage right.
Immediately. What's his name? Out of Atlanta. I just got the rapper. Anyway, Expeditiously. You know what I'm talking about.
I don't. There's a lot of rappers in Atlanta.
But you know what I'm talking about. The one that's our age. But I feel like that's what profit is. And just running it backwards. We know that we don't want poor driver retention. We need drivers that want to stay at MVT.
Yep.
But we need to hire the correct driver. We need the relationship to be good on both ends. So not just saying we want a driver to be happy, we need the company to be happy because it's complete teamwork.
Yeah.
Right? So we need the proper driver to work with this dispatcher that also works with the fleet manager, that works with, all of this going together, because to replace a driver is a lot of money. Everything that goes along with it, and not just the regular money, but the human capital that just goes along with all of that.
Yep.
And then the cancer that all of that can mess up, the bad attitude that starts in an orientation. If the driver has a bad attitude on the telephone, he's going to have a bad attitude in orientation. He's going to have a bad attitude once he starts working for the company, and he's going to have a bad attitude when it comes to the shipper. And then you might lose your dedicated account.
Yep.
So that's where my purpose, look at that. That's kind of, how I feel about that. It doesn't necessarily mean the driver is a poor driver. The driver might have a better fit somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I put the profit first, because I work backwards so we can get the proper driver.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's how I do it that way. So it's not always profit when we think of money, just all around team.
Just reverse engineering it.
Mm-hmm.
I do have one other question for you. You have the luxury of going to a lot of different conferences because of the nature of what you do. What is the favorite conference, convention, industry gathering that you go to on an annual basis, and why?
I think I said this there. I think TMSA is probably one of my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
One of the trucking shows, it just kind of depends on the year. It could be a smaller one like the Texas one, or it can be MAX.
Yeah.
Because it really gets me very involved on the trucking side of things.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and the audience at a truck show is much more diverse. You're going to physically have
right.
drivers there, industry personnel, executive, fleet owners, a wide variety there. I'm glad post-COVID that Matt's kind of reestablished itself.
Yes.
We lost the Great American Truck Show. I don't know that it comes back out of Dallas. Granted, being located in downtown Dallas may have been an issue there because it's hard to have truck parking. But the Mid-America Truck Show, I'm very thankful for because it's a lot of diversity in terms of what you see, the experiences you get. And as much as we talk about recruiters having a script, drivers also fall into that. If you're a driver and you call recruiter after recruiter after recruiter, you start to fall into a script where when you physically look at a driver face to face, you get the luxury of that script kind of breaking down and just having an honest discussion. And the nice thing here is the driver will tell you your baby's ugly if it's ugly.
Yeah.
I appreciate that fact.
Yeah. So that's why I like the truck shows, because you're right there face to face on the trucking, the driver side of things, the realness of it all. So I do like that. But I when we talk about the other side of things, I like TMSA because it's a lot of education that goes into it. A lot of education. So those two are probably at this point my most favorite.
I would tell any driver, any professional on the road, any person in office, is at some point you need to leave the truck. At some point you need to leave the desk and physically get out into the real world. One of the things that happens at any company is we start living in class houses.
Yes.
This is the way we've always done it. This is the way it should be. And we all are doing the same industry. We all have our secret sauce that's, Thousand Island dressing based. But every once in a while, it's good to go and see, oh, wait, you guys do it this way. Why do you guys do it differently?
Exactly.
Because we have a tendency of falling into habits, falling in love with our own ideas. And if you don't ever challenge those, eventually that catches up to you.
That's a great point. And when you, as a vendor, especially speaking to third party, anything, any type of service base to a trucking company or a driver or something like that, you really need to go to conferences where you are dealing directly with drivers and directly with trucking companies that touch the drivers, right? Or the positions that touch the driver. And the reason why I say that, not necessarily your marketing side and all of that, is because you will understand what their roles are and their excitements are. And you'll feel empathy when certain things happen, and it builds a partnership and a different type of understanding. That part is so important. And when it goes to recruiting for certain companies, you're able to explain it so much better to your driver, and you're able to just build a certain partnership with that company.
Yeah.
You recruit better for them. It's literally a better communication to the driver and a better communication to the company, to and with the company. And that is, I think I say this type of thing all the time.
We are in a relationship business. It's not the computers, it's not the software, it's not even the equipment. At the end of the day, I don't care if it's a driver, if it's a vendor, if it's a carrier. By definition, this is a relationship business. And the moment that you realize that, this industry gets a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah, this is a people business.
Yeah.
That is for sure. And that is one of the biggest things about going to conferences, so you won't be living in this house and that you're just not seeing what's going on, and you're only reading things, and hopefully you are reading things like on transport topics. But then you'll really get a better understanding because you'll have a different aspect of the other person's point of view. When you're able to come outside of your role and think about the other person's point of view, that's when you're starting to not become like for us, a good third-party recruiter. You have to then become a professional third-party recruiter. That's where your differences are.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I pushed us behind by a significant margin. Do you want to get into the news?
Yes, but I think that was really important.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
What do you got on your end?
Well, I want to talk about the rates. Kind of went down a little bit. I mean, you wanted to start off with all of the bad?
Oh, I don't know that it's bad on all the rates. It did go down a little bit, but we still continue to see total loads go up. So I don't know that.
Yeah, okay. So the loads did go up. The rates went down. Dry van is at $1.97. Reefer down $2.26, and flat is at $2.47. But on MVT side, we're just going to talk about the $1.97. But let's talk about something historical that happened with MVT last week.
Yeah, last week was our highest miles in a week ever, just ever. And it's a good sign. The rates weren't where we'd want them to be. They were not where they were, say, 18 months ago, or we would have made money as a company hand over fist, but that's not how the world of trucking works. Mm-hmm. There's peaks and there's valleys. With that said, it was a good week. It was a good week for our drivers. We saw a lot of drivers with a lot of good paychecks last week. And so when you have a record-setting week in terms of miles, which at the end of the day is a big chunk of where revenue comes from for a driver and for a company, it's exciting news. And really the biggest part of that is we have a lot of drivers that are not only safe, but extremely hardworking. We technically have the same number of drivers we did 6 months ago because our trucks are primarily filled. Yeah. Just the drivers are doing more on the road. And so it was literally the difference last week beyond just freight was our driver base. Our driver base knocked one out of the park last week.
That's good.
Oh, yeah. Now, it's exciting from a recruiting standpoint because when I recruit a new driver, they're coming into the company busy, like stuff to do. Yeah. Because the hardest part of any driver going in any new company is that first 90 days is difficult. You're trying to find your place. You're trying to get started. So if you can come into a company and, hey, we have all cylinders going, let's go. That's a big thing for a driver to get started on the right foot.
If your wheels ain't turning, you ain't earning.
That's right.
I like saying that.
Oh yeah, trust me. We and drivers can tell you can make
Yeah.
money detention, but that's not where the money is. That is the
Yeah,
worst
they-
case scenario.
Yeah, that's just, you don't want to be, that's not where you want to bank your mortgage or your rent payment on, is
Yeah.
your detention pay.
And we're not lumpers. We aren't household movers. We want to get the trucks rolling down the road. And that's ultimately where our professional drivers on the road differentiate themselves versus our peers.
Yes. Now, let's talk about how they're trying to take away my Amazon money.
But yeah, fuel went up. We're up to 373. We went up 7.7 cents last week. So that's disappointing to see that. With that said, the Gulf Coast continues to be down around 347, primarily where about 2/3 of our business are in the Gulf Coast area. And so Gulf Coast includes New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Again, leads the country with the cheapest fuel in the country at 347. Of course, California is always the highest, sitting there at 492. West Coast at 442. Lower Atlantic, that's going to be Florida, the Carolinas, Georgia, Virginia, West Virginia, sitting there at 373. So exciting on that end. It's not going up the same way everywhere. So it did go up 7 cents, but it continues to be led by New England and in particular the West Coast where the fuel is the highest. We're still holding steady at 347, which is about 3 cents more than it was last week. So I'm excited about the Gulf Coast, at least. We didn't take the brunt of that.
Yeah, I'm glad about that because that's part of, and that would have been terrible because rates is not like rates are just jumping out of the.
Oh yeah, So we're seeing improvements, and I know you read the story there from Warner, kind of talking about how it appears that we're starting to see normalcy in the freight market. With that said, if you look at the ATA's reporting that freight last month was up 1.5%, as we've talked about here repeatedly, between the drivers going out of the market due to the drug clearinghouse, the aging population leaving the industry with COVID. That 1.5% increase in freight volume probably feels closer to about 4 to 5% in our industry at this moment. So there's some opportunity there. We can get pessimistic about the fuel, but I'm optimistic about the second half of the year. I think that we're going to see. We still have a lot of faults in the economy at this moment. The housing market's not doing what it needs to, which is a big piece of our economy.
Yeah.
But from a standpoint, for those of you that survived that valley, we're starting to go into that peak again, and the normal freight environment will not feel normal. It will be aggressive. And for us in this industry, that is a good thing. There's a lot of customers talking to us that 6 months ago probably just didn't even want to look at it. Just, we're going to play the spot market, don't want to have a conversation with you, that now are knocking on our door. Hey, can we have that conversation we were going to have 6 months ago? Which is always a good leading indicator.
Yeah, I still am optimistic about the second half. I wish it would have come out June 1st and start swinging. That probably was a little bit overplay on my part, but I do still feel optimistic about it in everything because everything is still showing that we are moving up. So that is the part that is very, very important. Did you have anything else?
Yeah, I would say weather-wise too. We're recording this live at this moment, sitting at 3:25 p.m. local time here in Houston, 2:25. Over the next couple of days, in particular in the Gulf Coast area, we're going to have a lot of storms coming from is it a tropical storm, tropical depression?
Yeah, it's a tropical storm coming from the Gulf.
And so I would tell anybody out there a couple things. Slow down your speed. When you don't need to have your truck on the road because the wind's too high. Look, if you got a load that's only 12,000 pounds and all of a sudden you start getting 30-mile-an-hour crosswinds, it's time to take the truck off the road. And the other part in particular in low-lying areas like Houston, New Orleans, anywhere along I-10, when you don't know the depth of the water and when you don't know it with 100% certainty, do not test it out with your truck. Yeah. A lot of times we think about that little small smart car getting stuck. But we've seen just 2 weeks ago here in Houston, trucks getting stuck under overpasses because the water was significantly higher than what it looked like as you approached it.
And if especially if you're not heavy, or even if you heavy, hydroplaning is hydroplaning. Water is something for real and will destroy. So we want everybody to be safe. And you keep telling me about this storm that is coming, and I'm just not ready for it.
Oh, I don't think it's taking a vote though, unfortunately, because I'm not ready either.
I would rather it come tomorrow. You don't want it to come tomorrow.
I don't want it to come tomorrow, but I think I'm going to experience that, and so I may be in Houston longer than I anticipated.
I'm just like, wow.
It's a lovely city, though. Not when it's raining.
Because we will be underwater.
Yes, we will be. I would say that's it for news on my end.
Yes. So I think we should go ahead and mosey to a commercial or so, and we'll be back in 2 and 2. Well, since Pearson has talked about all of the wetlands of Houston, Texas, even though I know the wetlands wasn't in our history book growing up, or at least not in ours, let's go ahead and go to the hot jobs. Vanna, did Vanna do this part of it? I don't know.
Division 130, a lot of opportunities in 130. Currently hiring out of Phoenix, Albuquerque, Las Cruces, New Mexico, Dallas, Texas, and San Antonio, Texas. This is a division that's consistently at about $1,600 to $1,700 a week. You're looking at $85,000 to $90,000 a year. Really nice running lane, really nice length of haul. You're going to at least have one run that is going to be about 1,600 to 1,800 miles long. A lot of drop and hook, a lot of consistency, out 10 to 14 days. Home for a full 2 days. The big thing on this is the length of haul is the big part of it that seems to be very attractive to our drivers. Have a nice driver base out of Phoenix already. But again, if you live out of Phoenix, Albuquerque, Las Cruces, New Mexico, the DFW area, or San Antonio, this is an opportunity we'd like to have a chance to talk to you about and get into some details. This is also a division that's really nice for teams, just because of the natural length of haul there. We have teams that collectively will be making anywhere between $3,400 to $4,000 a week as a team on this opportunity. And the big piece of this is about 70 to 80% of the freight's going to be drop and hook. So you're not wasting a lot of time. We have local drivers in key markets that ultimately do those last mile moves. So some opportunities definitely exist with Division 130.
Perfecto. Now, Vanna, let's go to 300.
Division 300, what we refer to as one of our triangle divisions. As we talk a lot about here, we don't do dedicated, we do engineered lanes. The advantage is this is a perfect example with engineered lanes. Really, it relies on about 18 to 20 different customers. The key that makes this work is it's about 90% drop and hook on this particular lane. So we're hiring currently out of El Paso, Texas for this. So out of El Paso, you're going to go from El Paso to the DFW up to Denver, and then southbound out of Denver back towards El Paso. Run generally takes about 4 to 4.5 days, and every time you run that 4 to 4.5 days, you take your 34-hour reset, you're back out on the road. Really nice opportunity. Our drivers are averaging about $1,600 to $1,700 a week again on this. Really strong home time opportunity for those living out of El Paso. Going to average about 2,800 miles a week. So really nice opportunity. Again, 84, 85, up to $90,000 a year is pretty common on this division. And it's really nice. You're not going into the mountains. You're running that Colorado Front Range. On this division, you will never see one of our trucks going up into the Eisenhower Tunnel around Denver or anything like that. Mm-hmm. You get up there, most likely going to be on Anheuser-Busch going southbound out of Denver back towards El Paso. So a popular division, we need about 5 drivers a week that we can add on to this division.
It's a real popular division
is.
right there.
Goes
That's a
very quick.
Yeah, very popular division. If you hear that number, very popular division. Just, wink, wink. And now let's go to 329.
And this is probably our most popular division at this moment.
Mhm.
Division 329, depending on experience level, averaging anywhere between $1,200 to $1,800 a week on that. Not a year, thank God. With that said, the key with this division is it's easy running area in terms of geography. You're not going to the mountains. You're running mainly the eastern part of Texas, from about Midland, Odessa, all the way east to Texas. We will run a little bit in the southwest Louisiana, so like Lafayette as an example, and then the southern parts of Oklahoma. From all of the hiring locations for this particular division, you're never more than a day from home. And that's one of the things I point out is, God forbid in your life something goes wrong. There's an accident at the house. Maybe it's your kid has an impromptu teacher-parent conference they didn't tell you about till 2 days beforehand. This is a division that getting you back home becomes very easy. We get weekly home time with this division. A lot of drop and hook, though. These are all markets that we have a local footprint with local drivers, so they will finish those last mile moves and trailer relocations so that you can keep running. Despite the small geography, we also have a lot of teams that run on 329. They'll kick out and run loads to El Paso as well for the teams. Mm-hmm. But again, for a team, this is something that's going to be paying about $3,400 to $3,600 a week for a team. So we have probably right now about 15 teams on this division and about 80 solo drivers, but definitely looking to expand this. This is where our freight's been growing the quickest. Out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Houston, Laredo, San Antonio is where we've seen the most growth of freight over the last 6 months. So a very popular division. We're hiring out of Houston, Texas, DFW, San Antonio, Laredo, Texas, Mount Vernon, Texas. And the DFW area, when we say that we have a terminal there, the DFW is a big location.
Yes.
Technically, Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex is about the size of Connecticut and Rhode Island combined. Mm-hmm. So we have a terminal on both locations. We have one up in Saginaw, which is over there just north of Fort Worth, and we have another in Hutchins, which is just southeast of Dallas proper. And so a lot of opportunities there out of the DFW, Houston, San Antonio, Laredo, and Mount Vernon.
Yeah, this is an excellent, you can drop it down now, Kayla. This is an excellent run right here. We get a lot of drivers in Texas that want to stay in Texas and driving southern Oklahoma and right there in that little piece of Louisiana that is Texas. Yep. That's more Texas than El Paso. I'm sorry, because El Paso is not Texas. To us, that's New Mexico. And any driver that is in El Paso knows that they're really not a Texan. They're New Mexico.
Oh, and I'll point out, El Paso is its own thing. It's technically Texas, but it is definitely its own thing. Despite the objections from the folks here in Houston, it is still part of the state, to my knowledge.
Y'all ain't one of us. So, but I'm just saying, like, drivers really call us in these areas and they want to stay in Texas. Yep. So, and you can drive in Texas and never come out of Texas. So that's including a little bit of Louisiana and a little bit of Oklahoma. And that's all you have to do. And you'll be able to make a good, handsome, honest living and still be respectable and go home for Thanksgiving to see your mama.
Yep. A couple things we don't have maps for, but I definitely will share with everybody. We have a local opening out of the Chicagoland area where we, again, have somebody do a lot of trailer relocations, last mile moves and deliveries. That pays about $1,200 a week. You're home every single night. Opportunity there, Monday through Friday, opportunity out of the Chicagoland area. Primarily, we hire from the south and the west part of town. So definitely want to reach out with that potential opening there, and Nimmer will be able to help you. Additionally, if you are a recent grad, meaning that you graduated and have your ELDT certificate from the school that you went to out of Phoenix, Nashville, El Paso, or DFW, there's an opportunity there. The key is you have that CDL, you graduated from CDL school within the last year and have a copy of that certificate. We're always willing to have that conversation as well and set you up with one of our trainers or mentors who are generally experienced, have at least 5 years of experience, no tickets, no accidents in the last 3 years. So you're getting in the truck with a professional that will show you the right way to get started in the industry.
How many locals in Chicago.
Just one right now. So the
Just
key is
one.
you're going to want to act on it quickly.
So it's ready to go. Anybody on Nimmer's team or Deborah's team, let's definitely hit it and get that closed. So 281-968-3100, 281-968-3100. You can give us a call or go directly to the website at rigonwheels.com. It's a tab that says driver application, and fill out the Intella app and we'll get back to you ASAP. We have those 3 hot jobs available, but just like Pearson noted, there are other jobs. MVT is in a lot of different areas. So if those don't fit your fancy, there are other positions, but we'd like to highlight on this show the hot jobs for the week.
Yeah, and I will always point out that if we don't have an opportunity, Rig on Wheels works with about 40 other clients, trucking companies. So don't be shy. If it didn't sound like we had something that was in your wheelhouse or a location you were living in, the nice thing is you can call the number on your screen and have a conversation. You're going to talk about what you like, what you don't like, what your background is, what you're ultimately looking for in a career choice. I hope to have a new coworker out of the conversation, but if that doesn't take place, there's a whole bunch of other opportunities that you can skip calling all the recruiters and calling 40 other people. Have one singular call, one singular relationship, and let Rig on Wheels act as your agent as you become the next star at your next carrier.
Oh, I like that. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we
Trademark.
really, yes, he needs to trademark that now. But definitely, we'll be here to help you out. So get on there, get to calling us, or fill out the application, whichever one fits your fancy, and we will help. Typically, we need drivers to have 3 months or more experience. MVT for most positions needs 6 months or more experience. But for us, for majority of the companies, is 3 months or more experience. But always give us a call, and we can go through, everything with you. Okay. So let's go ahead. We'll get to questions because I know Kayla had some questions. Oh, let me say this. Meryl was on YouTube. Thank you for congratulating us. We're coming up on our 1 year in a couple of weeks. So thank you for congratulating us on that. Thank you so much. So let's go to another let's go to the commercial that's with the nice, handsome guy talking about the winning the car.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Mi nombre es Carlos Vázquez, tengo trabajando 3 años aproximadamente y somos B1 y andamos en territorio de Estados Unidos. Lo que me gusta de MVT es que tiene buenos viajes, buenos camiones y muy buenas millas. Mi comunicación con el despacho es muy buena y todo eso, y siempre están a la orden del día. ¿Qué pienso del equipo de los camiones? Pues que están muy bien y les dan sus mantenimientos, sus PO y todo lo demás, alineación y balanceo, todo, cambio de llantas y excelente servicio. La compañía cada trimestre regala un auto para los operadores. Me motiva pues a crecer más como persona y pues, para dar el 100, como dicen, para la compañía.
Thank you, everybody. Welcome back. Okay, so first, I want to have Pearson talk about the driver of the fuel incentives. And talk about some of the fuel incentives. I know it's not the hot jobs, but if you can kind of highlight that, that'd be great.
Well, I think the key thing in our industry that we've talked about is the biggest cost savings always comes from fuel. That is where most companies lose the most money, is inefficiencies with fuel. Ultimately, your biggest efficiencies come from your driver, their behavioral patterns. Once you get past having a really, really good equipment, a good fuel network, there's a lot of technology that goes into knowing when to fuel, where to fuel, making sure that you fuel enough, and not making constant stops. Beyond that, it becomes a driver's, really where the professional driver part of this comes into it. So in an industry that averages about 6.5 miles a gallon, we average about 9.5, a little less than that, 9.4 miles a gallon.
Mhm.
Our leading person that won the car last quarter was averaging 12.6. So what we do for our drivers, I don't have the name on me right now. It does
No,
not
but I'm
have
glad
the
that because you couldn't remember exactly what his.
It was 12.6. It was
That's
12.6, which is
awesome.
unbelievably impressive. And so whoever gets the best fuel economy for the quarter gets a brand new car. We do it 4 times a year. Unlike a lot of carriers that do driver appreciation once a year, we do it every single quarter. And the big thing is we like to give a car to the person who had the best fuel economy for the quarter, a brand new car. If a team wins it, which does happen, we split the cost difference and give them the money and work it out that way, because car loses a lot of value when you cut it in half. With that said, whoever gets the best fuel economy for the year gets a $25,000 bonus at the end of the year. It's one of the special things that we do. On top of awarding the top performers and having a chart where people can track their progress of where they're at, wide range of people win it. We also have an MPG bonus that ranges anywhere from a penny to 4 cents a mile retroactively. That's done monthly. So as an example, if you average 9 miles per gallon, you're going to get an extra penny on all your miles. All the way up to 11 miles a gallon, we're going to pay you out 4 cents on all your miles for the month. That's retroactively, as long as you're on time, have no tickets, no accidents, and you get into that MPG range there, you can earn up to an extra 4 cents per mile retroactively on all your miles. Some divisions also have a productivity bonus. This is above and beyond that productivity bonus. So as an example, we talked last week about Division 410.
Mhm.
Division 410, if you run 12,000 miles in a week retroactively, you can make an extra 5 cents per 5 cents per mile on all your miles. That does not include what you get on the MPG on top of that. So it pays to be a professional on the road, pre-plan, slow down, do not need to be going 75 miles an hour down the road. Generally, if you keep it on the highway between 65 miles an hour, 67, you're going to be just fine.
Okay, so King Anthony Rios.
Yep.
He had the 12.6.
Yeah, really impressive quarter.
Yes. So I was like, oh, I can cheat. I can find out what his.
Well, the key thing to remember, though, because a lot of conspiracy theories exist out there, and there's a lot of carriers that almost don't believe we get the MPGs that we do, but the financials would show that we do. The key thing here is it's not who's been with us the longest. It is not who's been in the industry the longest. We've had people win this that have been with us 20 years. We've had other people win this that have been with us for 9 months in the industry and as a company. The key is we will work with you. We have a whole department of people called driver services, and their whole goal is your career development, both what you want to do 5 years from now with us, as well as what you're going to do in the next quarter as far as your MPG bonus. Your fleet manager is going to work with you, and the team at Penske that does a great job on our equipment and the maintenance of our equipment work hard to make sure that you have the best equipment possible to be successful on the road and enjoy yourself in the truck as well.
I like that. I like that a lot. And the fact that, I mean, his MPG, I'm still sitting here like, so what is the average again in the industry, and what is MVT's average?
Yeah, our average is about 9.4, 9.5, and the industry average continues about 6.5 at this moment.
And then King Anthony Rios?
Oh, he's at 12.6.
Okay. So I'm just going to throw it out there. He's a professional driver.
Oh, he is.
Okay.
He is. Unbelievably safe, great customer service with our customers. And customer service for us is a big thing because we've had most of our contracted customers going 20, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they've seen our trucks. They know who we are. They are not surprised when we come through the way there. And they take a lot of pride in MVT's drivers coming and delivering their freight. And it's because of people like him.
Yeah, I love it. I'm just really impressed. You remember that today, and I was like, oh, I can find his name. That's, I'm an investigator.
Well, yeah, our social media, if you visit Mesilla Valley Transportation on Facebook.
Okay, you didn't have to do that.
Well, we want people to know. We want people to see that guy.
I know, but I was trying to say I work for the FBI.
You got it off the AP wire. What people don't see off screen is you have this old school fax machine that starts pulling this information up. We don't have that for everybody. That's exclusively to Rig on Wheels. Okay, good. Because I was about to say, I was trying to tell everybody I work for the FBI and everything. And then you was like, oh, no. Oh, no, it still seems plausible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm buying it.
Okay, good. No, but that is very, very, very good. And going back to TMSA, is a few things that I pointed out when we were talking. And we were talking about sustainability and the ecosystem and all of that. And it was 3 companies that I mentioned. So it was FedEx. I'm gonna come back to FedEx, but it was NFI, because they have the largest eco-friendly trucks, the fleet, and then MVT when it comes to the MPG car giveaway and all of that. The fact of how the driver appreciation goes, and I was sitting in there with a lot of marketing people, and a lot of the times the marketing folk is the one that put everything together. Shout out to the marketing people. I love them. However, next paragraph, we have these driver appreciations, and then there's no drivers that are there. It's just all the desk stiffs like myself are the only ones that get to enjoy all of this food, and no drivers there. And then you see on the social media pages, no drivers are there, just people that look like me, right? However, not only at MVT's driver appreciation are there drivers there, families are there, right? But then also the driver is winning a car. So that's huge. And the car is based on the MPG.
Yep. Yeah, and I appreciate the fact that we do it 4 times a year because it gives us a higher percentage odds of seeing everybody. All of our running lanes, all of our engineered lanes go through terminals where we would hold a driver appreciation event. So if you don't live in the market that it is, you don't live in the market that we're headquartered, you're going to have an opportunity. We hold driver appreciation in Denver, El Paso, Laredo, DFW, and Nashville. All of our running lanes go through one of those terminals. So the nice thing with us is over the course of the year, we're going to get to lay eyes on you at least once a year, and that's a big deal for us. We're not throwing a driver appreciation event for us. Royal's been and founded the company 42 years ago. I'm sure he's seen them before. He's had all the tacos and burgers off the grill you could possibly want. At the end of the day, the real goal is to see our drivers, physically thank our drivers. And the biggest thing when you talk to a driver is like we talked about why you go to a truck show, is they can tell you what's going well, what's going bad, what they physically see on the road. Because as much as we have computers and technology and in-cab communications, at the end of the day, being able to physically sit down and talk to a professional of the road that can tell you what's going on in the real world becomes the best education that you're going to get working in an office.
And I have my notes here, so I don't have to just speak off the cuff. FedEx has focused on reducing environmental impact through their Earth Smart initiative, is what it is, their fuel efficiency, vehicle fleet, and aircraft. And then I told you about NFI operates one of the largest zero emission truck fleets in North America and the largest in the States. And then MVT has a renowned fuel efficiency program. Of course, we talked about the MPG and things like that, the sustainability and eco-friendly lubricants. And I know that maybe that doesn't sound like a big deal, but that's part of the fuel efficiency. So when we're at 10th Street conferences, not this past one on March 2024. So this comes to Pearson talking about getting outside your comfort zone and actually getting from behind your desk and going to these conferences. So March of 2003, and at the 10th Street conference, Tim, the CEO, was talking about having MPG for incentives for your drivers is good if you're actually helping your drivers get there. So many will have that and they have no idea how their drivers will actually get there. So as I was doing digging and digging and digging, because honestly, all I know is the type of gas that goes in my car. I don't know about all of this other stuff. But eco-friendly lubricants actually help maintain and for emissions as well as fuel when it comes to the other things. So not only are they giving away the car and all of that, but they're doing other things to help that. Not just the coaching with the, what's it called, career services? Driver services, but under the hood, quote unquote, they're doing things that you're not seeing to get you there to that point. And it helps put more money in your pocket, helps retain you as a driver, better morale, all of that type of stuff. People, purpose, profit.
Yep. One of the things we point to is the value of keeping a clean truck.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a small thing, but that 0.2 of a mile per gallon that you gain by having a clean truck versus a dirty truck, when you multiply it by 1,500 plus trucks, starts to add up. It sounds like a small step, but it's why, hey, we're going to have 75 trucks go through El Paso today that all need to be cleaned. It seems like a minor thing, but it's a collection of about 20 different things that you can do to improve your fuel economy. The key piece of it is you end up having better equipment in the long run, too, when you take to it. Yes, ultimately, we're not going to use the truck until it dies. We're going to get rid of it after about 3 years and move on to new trucks. But with that said, you want that truck to be in really good condition. So if you have a driver that is in a 3.5-year-old truck, they don't feel like they're in a 3.5-year-old truck. It still performs the way it did when it came off the assembly line. It's nice on the inside. It's still functional. And they have a chance at that MPG bonus. So we never want to have a driver at a competitive disadvantage going into it to get the best fuel economy. And it's why I'm a big believer that if you want professionals on the road to act like professionals on the road, you have to give them the resources to be professionals on the road.
And it all just works together. So if you're investing in your equipment, if you're invested in your people, all of that just works together. It's one formula. That's the reason why I like to do the math backwards. See? That's the reason why I was right.
You keep proving your point. Okay. I get it.
I'm a Virgo. I try to prove my point. I just keep, pounding it in. I want everybody to agree with me.
We'll take the vote after we're done. We'll take the vote.
Okay, so since we start talking about the equipment, I do not want to run out of time. Kayla, please play the commercial with Joe talking about the Blue Beast.
At Mesilla Valley Transportation, every driver is behind the wheel of a late model International LT, a truck that takes comfort, convenience, and safety to a whole new level. Join us as we explore the impressive features of this powerhouse on wheels. The open road is full of surprises, and sometimes that includes unexpected encounters with wildlife. But worry not, the International LT has you covered. The front end protection guard offers an extra layer of defense, protecting you from animal strikes. Drive with confidence, knowing that you're shielded from the unexpected. We all know how important it is to keep our batteries charged. And our International LTs have your back. The Cummins X15 is equipped with an auto start feature, ensuring that your batteries are automatically recharged when they run low on volts. It's a seamless process that keeps you powered up and ready to hit the road. Disc brakes and an engine brake provide reliable and safe stopping power when you need it most. You can have peace of mind knowing that you're in control. Safety is at the forefront of what we do. Our International LTs are equipped with top-of-the-line safety features to ensure your well-being while out on the road. These tractors are equipped with Bendix fusion protection, collision mitigation, and lane departure warning. Achieving good fuel efficiency deserves recognition. With the International LT, your efforts don't go unnoticed. When you consistently achieve impressive miles per gallon, the International LT rewards you with increased speed. It's a little extra motivation to keep you pushing for better fuel economy. After a long drive, you're ready for a well-deserved break. With the International LT, you can enjoy your rest period in absolute comfort. Thanks to its auxiliary power unit, you can keep the driver's cabin heated or cooled just the way you like it. No matter the weather outside, you'll always find your sweet spot within our International LTs. The International LT understands that comfort extends beyond driving. It's a space where you can truly feel at home. I'm a big guy, and I have room to move around in here. With plenty of room to spare, the International LT accommodates even the tallest drivers. And there's ample storage for all your clothes, cooking essentials, and tools, making life on the road even more convenient. Speaking of cooking, bring along your appliances and don't sacrifice any luxuries thanks to all of our International LTs being equipped with built-in inverters. Dry your hair, make a smoothie, or play a game, all from the comfort of your truck. We take pride in our well-maintained fleet, and if by chance you do come across something wrong on your truck, you're never far from help thanks to our valuable relationship with Penske. With more than 750 brick-and-mortar Penske shops nationwide, their expert team is always ready to assist you. From routine maintenance to unexpected repairs, they'll get you taken care of and back on the road in no time. And there you have it. Just a few things about this late model International LT that make MVT the place to be.
That's our Blue Beast commercial. We gotta love it.
Yeah, nice truck, really well maintained, International LTs. We talked about the fuel economy part of it, but we don't have to sacrifice comfort. It is a truck that is spacious instead of the standard 56-inch sleeper berth that you commonly see for most regional drivers. That's a 71-inch, meaning it's set up for a team, but if you're a solo driver, you're going to be in that truck. With the APU units, the plugs, the accessories, the storage space, the space of the truck, you're going to be comfortable in your home away from home. The Blue Beast is definitely one of the things that separates us versus our peers. The International LT is well built with the Cummins engine. And when you combine that with the partnership that we have with Penske, you're never going to be too far away from a Penske location. So God forbid if something doesn't go right, we instantly can get you serviced, helped, and on your way, including, look, something goes wrong and that truck's inoperable, we will have a sub-unit. And if you want to stick with that truck, next time we have you come through your engineered lane, the truck will be waiting there for you. Penske's a valuable member with a really nice set of equipment packages on that truck. In-cab communication now for all of our trucks still available on that. Weather updates, the information that you can have access to, and in particular be trained on. So we talk about APU units or in-cab communications. We will have drivers, and it's not always the older driver. Sometimes it's the younger driver going, hey, I'm not really good at this. I'm not good with an in-cab communication. Or how do you operate the APU? Part of our orientation is literally truck top to bottom, going through the truck that you're going to drive. How do you operate it? Who do you contact if something goes wrong? How do you maximize what you get out of the truck? Because ultimately, you can give somebody at Microsoft a brand new computer, but if you don't go over it with them and go, hey, let's talk about what's new on this, they're not going to be successful with it. Same thing goes with the professional driver. If you simply stick them in a truck and go, you figure it out, it's a horrible way to start the relationship. We want you to be successful right off the bat. So we're going to go in detail and train you everything that you need to know about that truck inside and out.
Perfect. In Delmont, I'm not going to tell them how you were jealous when you were sitting on the side of the road and you saw the Blue Beast driving past you. So I'm not going to tell them about that.
I like hearing about it, though.
Yes. Yeah. So make sure you all follow us on YouTube and all of the shorts and long clips. We love that you all love those a lot. We put a lot of effort into those. So thanks, Kayla, for throwing that up there. Kayla did have a couple of questions. So I want to get to those before we close out. Kayla?
Yeah. First question is, are there any performance-based or safety incentives?
Yes, there is. Depends on the division, but it ranges anywhere from 2 to 5 cents. 2 to 5 cents a mile. I do not want to say per gallon because that would be MPG. But yes, there is. Talk to your recruiter about that with any respective division, but there definitely are performance and safety-related bonuses.
Perfect.
All
That's a
right.
good question. I like the money questions.
The next question I have is, what kind of in-cab system does MVT use?
Yeah, it's a platform science. It's a really nice, easy to navigate system. Generally what happens in our orientation is people tend to pick it up fairly quick because it's somewhat, I believe the word that the professionals use, intuitive. So it works around what would be the commonplace, and there's a lot of logic behind it. I've used Qualcomm, I've used some other systems that other company uses. It took me literally a couple of hours, and I had the system fairly figured out. Most folks get it fairly quick. There's always exceptions because we learn differently. Not everybody learns the same way. So at the completion of orientation, though, for those that did not learn well in the group setting, we do have one-on-one sessions we also do for people. Because like I said, it's not a question of intelligence or skill or experience. we just learn different. Some people are book smart, some people are common sense smart. I think the common sense is probably more valuable. But with that said, we will get you trained and get you to utilize that system to its fullest.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
And
Yes, I got one more question. Can drivers potentially transition to other roles within the company after so many years?
Yeah, absolutely. Our mentors come from our driver base, and then non-road related topics. A large chunk of our dispatchers, fleet managers, load planners, safety personnel, orientation managers literally came from our driver base. It is a rich talent pool that when we can hire from within, we prefer to, because that experience ends up being invaluable. In particular, as a fleet manager, most drivers love to have a fleet manager that has physically done the same job that they are doing. There's an instant level of respect that's granted on both sides of the aisle at that point. So yeah, we actively participate in trying to hire from within, and that definitely includes the driver base, because their experience ends up putting them leaps and bounds ahead of what we'd find in the talent pool outside of the company.
awesome. Well, thank you for the questions, everybody, because those were some really good questions that were texted in. And we do not want to forget our Faces of the Road calendar. Our Faces of the Road calendar. We are the second part of the year here. So this is definitely the front of it, okay? And we are in June. So we're celebrating Pride and the environmental month here. And so Eid was on Sunday and Monday. And we have Juneteenth coming up. And then on the 20th, we got summer coming. Even though most parts of the world, but definitely United States, summer came early. But in our calendar, you're able to keep up with all of that. But just remember, in your Face of the Road calendar that celebrates the diversity of the heroes that drive and just make our economy in the United States just go around. I'm telling you, these are trucker holidays. We make sure we put as many trucker holidays in here as possible that we know in advance. So it's geared towards you. Okay. That is what's already in here. Okay, so that is for June. We don't have that many weeks left in June. And then you'll definitely have July. And July, you have the Driver Safe Week that will be coming up in the week of July.
It's my favorite month in there, though. Representatives of a lot of the diversity in our industry as drivers. I just, July is my favorite.
Yeah, July is your favorite. Yeah, I really like this calendar. And for next year, I have already started just thinking, and as I cannot wait until in a couple weeks when the Texas Truck Show. Because as I'm walking around, I'm going to have to concentrate to look at the booths with the vendors, because I think I'm going to really be staring at the drivers, because the diversity. I hope nobody think I'm a creeper, because I'm really not a creeper, but I don't want to get emotional, but I just really am going to start envisioning the artwork. And because we were talking about the artwork and things like that, like envisioning what's important for next year's calendar.
Yep. I think the key takeaway from it is there's no stereotypical driver. And as we continue to talk to the next generation about their career options beyond just school, it's a viable option for many, many, many people. College is not for everybody, even though there's a lot of professional drivers on the road that are college educated, even MBAs and doctorates that are met on the road.
Yeah.
But with that said, the important thing with a calendar like this is it helps when you see somebody that looks like you doing a job. It just matters. If you don't see somebody that looks like you, it's hard to get excited or envision yourself in that career path.
Yeah, because inclusivity is our fuel, diversity is our engine, and unity is our destination. And remember, you can go directly to the Rig on Wheels website, rigonwheels.com, and go to the Road Store, and you will be able to pick up a calendar right from there. Okay. All righty. So with saying that, I mean, we're at the end of our show. And yeah, we'll be back here next week on Tuesday at 3 p.m. same time. And we want everybody to be safe. And if you're in Houston or anywhere around, please turn around, don't drown, because that is our slogan. Be somebody too, right? And I think that's what spray painted everybody everywhere. But also turn around, don't drown. That's very important, especially for today.
Yep.
And tomorrow. Probably for the rest of the week.
Seems right.
Mhm.
Be safe.
Be safe. Bye, everybody.